Hello my quilting friends, my name is Leah Day, and in this video we are loading our Cutie Frame and we are going to be quilting the Baby Onesie T-shirt quilt I made for Betty. So this is another tutorial if you would like to make a t-shirt quilt out of baby onesies. I show you step by step how to cut up the onesies and how to do a really simple stitch and flip piecing method that actually foundation pieces this onto flannel so I don't have to use a batting with this quilt. I'm just layering it with some Minky backing and it is ready to quilt. So definitely check out the tutorial for how to piece this quilt top at leahday.com/babyonesie. And now it's time to load our Cutie Frame. I've had a lot of requests for this video. The Cutie is a very lightweight, collapsible, storable quilting frame. It's very, very easy to use, and you can use your home sewing machine, a Cutie Quilting 15, 16, or 19-inch long arm. So it has a lot of versatility. You can start with your home sewing machine, and then you can upgrade with a bigger machine anytime you want. So I have leader cloth here. This is the hoop frame leader cloth. Now, if you don't have leaders, what you're going to need to do is simply cut longer backing fabric. And I only had this piece of Minky, and it was, it's really a little bit on the tight side, I can definitely say. So I'm really glad I'm using leaders because it just simply, I don't need to use as much backing fabric with each quilt. Saves me some fabric. So what I've got here is some magnets, high-powered neodymium magnets. I've screwed them to my wall. I like to do this standing up. I don't really like hunching over a table these days. So I just find that hanging the leader cloth up on the wall, I just use a metal bracket with that magnet, hangs it up, makes it really, really simple and very quick to get this pinned, layered, and ready to go. So after I get the leader cloth hung, I just go across and pin the backing fabric to the leader cloth. And this is a specific tip for this particular backing. It is Minky. You want to make sure that the stretchy side of the Minky, so you have one side that's going to stretch a lot and one side that's not going to be as stretchy. You want the stretchy side to be the side that you pin. And I always remember that was like stretchy side gets pinned. I don't know why that works really well for my brain, but you don't want the stretchy side being on the sides of the quilt because that's going to get extra stretched and torqued if you put your quilt on a frame. And this is true for any style of frame, whether you're quilting on a hoop frame or you're quilting on a rolling rail frame. Always make sure that the stretchy side of your Minky is pinned or clamped to your leader cloth, not running along the sides of the quilt. Okay, once I get that pinned in place, then I layered on my quilt top, smoothing it out, kind of generally getting it centered, and I pinned across the top. And then you can just smooth this out with your hands, kind of getting those layers to lock together, and it is ready for quilting. So let's move to the Cutie Frame. I can't wait to show you how to load this quilt and us to start quilting it together. So here we go. I am loading the Cutie, slotting that hoop frame leader cloth right through the arm of my machine. And I'm just going to lay this generally over the Cutie Frame. And I want to figure out the farthest over my sewing machine can go before it starts hitting stuff here on the side of the frame. So that looks pretty good. Now, if you have Cutie channel locks, or in this case, I have the handles above upgrade, so I put handlebars above, and I also have a different base carriage. We include channel locks with that. And channel locks will lock your machine and your base carriage into one position so it no longer rolls. It just makes this just a little bit more convenient. Alternatively, if you don't want to change out your carriages, the Cutie channel locks will do the same thing. Really just helps you be able to control the machine so it's not rolling around and doing crazy stuff on you while you're trying to get loaded. Now, once you figure out how far over your sewing machine can roll, meaning this is about as far as the machine can go before the carriage starts hitting stop. So I want to lock that down and I want to see how far back my machine can go and double check that. So I want to make sure that the quilt is not being loaded in a spot where I can't do any stitching. You know, I want the corner of that quilt basically to be on this side of the needle. And if this doesn't make any sense to you, please don't worry. The more that you load your quilt, the better you're going to get, the better you're going to understand how your sewing machine works on the Cutie Frame. It's all going to make a lot more sense the more that you do this. Now this is the part that I feel like is the trickiest when it comes to loading the Cutie frame, and that is figuring out exactly where to place that first clamp. Because if we place that clamp and too much of the leader cloth is sticking forward, well then we're not being very efficient with our load. But if we clamp it too far, with the quilt too far into the machine, then we won't be able to stitch the edge of the quilt. So it's a little bit of one of those things where sometimes I end up placing the clamp and then taking it off and placing it again until I get it just right. It's kind of like the Goldilocks zone. And this looks okay. Let me see. I think if I could just bump it up by maybe 1/2 of an inch, and just shift it up by 1/2 of an inch, and there we go. I like that. It's not very straight, so there we go. Shifting it back and forth, and there. Now I have seen a lot of different options, a lot of creative quilters on the Cutie Quilters Facebook group. They're awesome groups, so definitely check that out. And they use magnets when loading this frame. I do like the clamps, but if you're wanting something to just hang onto your leader cloth or maybe get it straight across, maybe considering playing with those neodymium magnets. Just be careful with the length and how strong they are. You know, you can end up getting your finger between the magnet and your frame, so watch out for that, definitely. So here we go. I'll place this one, and I'm just aiming here to keep that straight across so that the same amount of leader cloth here is exposed as down here. And this looks like I'm slipping ever so slightly downward. We want to keep it as straight across the frame as we can get it. And we have one more clamp to place. Want to make sure that that one's just same location, same distance of leader cloth exposed all the way down. That looks good. Now it's a simple process of just starting that rolling action. That's what the hoop frame leader cloth is really good for. And then placing those clamps, getting those secured to the back clamp. So we have these little silver clips and elastics, and that is what holds our quilt up. And as it rolls up into the machine, that's going to roll around that tube with our hoop frame leader cloth. So that looks good. Let's double check ourselves and make sure that the quilt hasn't slipped too far this way. I'm going to unlock my machine so it can freely move. And I am right on the edge. I can quilt that, but if I was worried about it, I could slightly scoot, maybe by 1/2 of an inch. I could slightly scoot the quilt down if I was worried that I could not quilt all the way to that edge. So there we go. That looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to take my hands and I'm just going to slide my hands underneath the quilt, making sure that the Minky and the quilt top are nicely smoothed out. Now, if I did not have the Cutie handlebar above upgrade, I would have to roll this. I'm going to show you how to do it just in case you don't have this upgrade. So what you do is you take the front of the quilt, this part that's hanging down, and you just start rolling it up, and then you take that and you clamp that here to those front clamps. Just like so. So you can see that this whole step, I can skip this whole step because I've done this upgrade. So it really does save you some time, especially if you're working on a very long quilt or a very big quilt, because this rolling can become really time consuming. Okay, now we've got these cute little side clamps, and those go right here on the sides. Watch out for your pens. You might have to take out a pen in order to clamp that down and get that secured. And then over here on the sides, I'm going to grab my side leader and those pins. So I just take this and I'm going to put 2 or 3 pins here right along the side, holding this little square of fabric in place. And then down here, I've got you can do 2 things. You can do the bungees with the clamps, or you can take this little side clamp and place this here instead. It's totally up to you, whichever one works best for you. I think that this is going to work out great. So there we go. The Cutie frame is loaded. My machine is rolling smoothly. It is ready for quilting. So we're going to stitch a little bit on this quilt. I just want to show you one simple free motion quilting design called Loopy Line. It is a great choice for baby quilts, and it's also going to give you an opportunity to try out a very simple design, your first load, and really not have to worry too much about it being absolutely perfect. This design is so forgiving, it is so easy to stitch. Most likely the biggest challenge is going to be slowing yourself down so your stitches don't get too big. So let's get started quilting some loopy line together. So here is this loopy line design. You can see I just stitch simple curve, loop around, stitch a curve, loop around. I'm just meandering over the surface. I do keep my hand generally on the quilt top, smoothing things out. If I feel like things are getting a little bit lumpy bumpy or a little bit weird, then I can kind of pull on the fabric a little bit, press it out a little bit with my fingertips, and that's a-okay. It also pays to occasionally stop and just check in on your stitches. Bend over and look underneath your frame and check and see what your stitches look like on the back of the quilt. What's great is Minky Fabric really hides stitches, so if there is an issue, most likely you're not going to see it if you're using Minky on the back. Loopy line is a great choice for baby quilts. It's a great choice for beginner machine quilting. As you can see, my stitch length is getting just a little bit big. I could increase the speed of my machine here carefully. There we go. I did that just simply by adjusting the speed of my speed controller a little bit faster, and that gave me just a little bit more oomph. And yeah, it's working out great. So some designs are just so simple and easy to quilt fast, and loopy line is definitely a great choice for beginners. So it's time to advance the quilt, and I decided to speed up this section of the video so you can see it kind of quick. First step is to take off all of your clamps, front clamps, side clamps, back clamps, shift the quilt over to the left, and then re-clamp everything. Now again, this is very much like loading. It's pretty much the identical same steps to loading. And this time I'm leaving the front of my quilt hanging. I'm not going to roll it up. And you can see that step really does save you some time because I don't have to sit there and bunch that up and attach those clamps. I can just let it hang. So with all of this set back up again, re-clamped, I am ready to continue quilting, stitching down to the other end of my quilt. So this is really the process of quilting on the Cutie. You're only limited size-wise, space-wise by the size of your sewing machine. I am stitching on a Janome 1600. It has about a 9-inch harp space, so not a ton of space. But I am happy with what I'm able to get done, and I love how quick and easy it is to quilt on this frame with this machine. Pushing the quilt on the table, I've done that for a long time. Been there, done that, and really I think this is so much easier on my body, so much easier to manage the quilt. If you'd like to see more videos in this little mini series, I have a pattern on quilting the Baby T-shirt onesie quilt. You can learn how to piece that and quilt along with us. Check out that pattern at leahday.com/babyonesie. And just in case you're interested, I am a dealer for Grace Company, so if you're interested in the Cutie Quilting Frame, come and check it out. leahday.com/cutie. Until next time, let's go quilt.